June 27, 2017. Screens lock across the world's largest container shipper. Booking dies. Email dies. Port systems stutter. The network goes quiet, then gone. Maersk is still moving the ocean. Its computers are not. How does a fake ransom note stop global trade? Tonight's corporate breach case is NotPetya and what it did to AP. Maersk, a wiper in a ransom costume, a trusted tax updater, a shipping giant forced onto paper, figures from company reporting and public investigations. Full links in the description. We cite counts. We don't invent them. Maersk is not a website. It is steel, schedules, and terminals. A ship docking somewhere every few minutes. Containers that feed stores, factories, and fuel pumps. When its IT collapses, clerks cannot clear cargo the normal way. Drivers wait. Schedules slip. The physical world feels a digital failure, even if the hulls keep floating. AP. Maersk sits at the center of container shipping. Reporting has framed its share of global container trade in the mid-teens. Treat that share as reported context, not a lab measurement. Hard concentration either way. One network, many ports, one identity system holding the map of who can log in. On infected machines, it looked familiar. A locked screen, a demand for roughly $300 in Bitcoin. The costume of ransomware after WannaCry. Familiar enough to stall responders. Security teams soon learned the mask was the point. The decrypt path did not save you. Plain English, this was a bomb wearing a bill. Not a negotiation. A wipe. It damaged systems, so recovery meant rebuild, not pay and unlock. That is why analysts called it NotPetya. It borrowed the look of Petya. It did not behave like an honest crooks encryptor. Paying fed a myths. It did not restore the domain. The wave starts in Ukraine. Banks, ministries, infrastructure, monitoring systems near Chernobyl made the headlines for the wrong reasons. Then the blast radius leaves the map. Private giants far from Kiev start lighting up. FedEx's TNT Express arm. Maersk, advertising networks, and shipping Maersk. Here is the first turn. The door was not a Hollywood zero-day aimed at a Danish ship from day one. It was trust in software millions of Ukrainian companies needed to file taxes. Hold that question. The updater is the story, and the concentration risk hiding inside compliance. MeDoc, spoken MeDoc, was popular Ukrainian accounting software. Reuters reported it sat on roughly 1 million machines, used by a huge share of Ukrainian firms. Microsoft and other firms traced early NotPetya infections to its legitimate updater process. A trusted patch pipe. Poisoned. The update you were supposed to install became the payload. Think of it as a national compliance tool turned into a delivery truck. You install it because the state expects filings. Attackers hitch a ride on the update you already trust. That is supply chain failure with a bureaucratic face, not a hoodie in a basement. The patch pipe became the payload pipe. Once inside a Windows network, NotPetya races. It abuses known wormable flaws and stolen credentials. Tools that look like admin work, remote execution, credential reuse, lateral hops. Fire moves faster than a help desk ticket. Maersk security leaders later said Eternal Blue was already patched, and a domain admin credential still became fuel. Flat identity. Fast collapse. In later interviews, Maersk's Andy Banks described roughly 55,000 devices hit in about 7 minutes. Monitoring went quiet in a way that did not make sense. Then the decision, pull the plug. Kill the network to stop the burn. Survival first. Shipping second. Containment as amputation. Without email and booking systems, people improvise. WhatsApp on personal phones. Whiteboards. Paper at the gate. The register reported disruption across roughly 76 port terminals. Containers still exist in the yard. The digital map of who owns them, where they go next, and who gets paid, that map is dark. The worst failure was identity. Domain controllers, the servers that say who you are and what you can touch, went down together. Backups that assumed one controller could heal another failed when all of them died at once. No map. No easy restart. The company had engineered for single failures, not for simultaneous wipe. Second turn. Paying the fake ransom would not bring Maersk back. Rebuild would. And rebuild needed one clean copy of Active Directory, something the attack seemed designed to erase. Where do you find a ghost of your own network when every online copy is gone? Wired later reported the answer in Andy Greenberg's investigation. A lone surviving domain controller in Ghana, spared because a remote office lost power during the attack. That machine became the seed. Recovered, moved toward headquarters, used to regrow the identity spine of a global company that had just learned every online copy can die together. At Davos, Maersk chair Jim Hageman-Snabe described the rebuild out loud. About 4,000 servers, 45,000 PCS, 2,500 applications, 10 days of reinstall work that, he said, would normally take months. IT heroes, overnight shifts, and a company learning what cold start means when Active Directory is ash. Snabe also said volume fell about 20%. 80% kept moving somehow, staff, customers, and manual grind. That is the human stakes beat. Not a stock chart. People keeping ships useful while the network is a corpse. Paychecks, schedules, and cargo still had to clear the gate. Maersk was not alone. Pharma, couriers, agencies, Ukraine's own critical systems. Wired framed a White House assessment, putting global NotPetya damage near $10 billion. Treat that as an estimate. The company numbers that follow are harder. In earnings language, Maersk put the hit at $200 to $300 million. Later speaking put a higher total around $350 million, including recovery, attributed in interviews, not a second audited line. Either way, nine-figure pain for a wiper that asked for pocket change on the lock screen. US and UK officials later attributed NotPetya to Russian military actors, often discussed under the sandworm label in public reporting. The target framing was Ukraine. The collateral was the world's logistics layer. Intent debates continue in think tanks. The outage did not wait for consensus. Third turn. If your disaster plan assumes one domain controller can heal the others, you do not have a plan for a wiper. You have a hope, and hope is not a control. Offline seeds are boring until the day paper becomes your logistics system. Stack the receipts. Fake $300 ransom. 200 to 300 million for Maersk. Tens of thousands of machines rebuilt. A White House-framed $10 billion estimate for the whole event. Cost of failure in steel, time, and trust. Cleanup is blunt. Segment identity so one office cannot torch the planet. Keep an offline Active Directory seed you can actually trust. Treat tax and finance updaters like production software, because they are. Patch wormable flaws. Assume ransomware screens can lie. And practice the pull-the-plug decision before 7 minutes own you. Open questions remain. How many firms still mirror every domain controller with no offline escape hatch? How many trusted updaters sit outside the security team's mental map? How many ransom screens are still treated as a bill instead of a crime scene? NotPetya answered with a port full of paper. Which corporate failure should we open the file on next? Comment below. This was corporate breach. Sources include Maersk reporting, Reuters, The Register, Bleeping Computer, CSO, and Wired's NotPetya investigation. Full links in the description.